Are we going? Yeah, sound, we're off. Cool. Kind of kick it here again. Darius Richards, Warren Holmes, joined today with an old teammate, old friend, Tom Conlon. To come on to talk about his journey so far and his career so far and everything in between. As always, we always start with a little icebreaker, a random question generator, courtesy of Warren Holmes. So
I wasn't aware of this. This one's quite a good question. It suits what's happening down to the ground right now. So it's probably a simple answer for most of us, but so we'll go to Tom first. What is the next big purchase you're currently saving for?
You know what, mate? Because my season was coming to an end in like May. We were looking to go away, so we had Bali booked, me and my missus. So I think we're getting the refund on the flight. So I'm just looking to next summer now to start stashing away as much as possible to do Bali and then maybe a few others because we've got plenty of time to save for it. And then I'm getting the refund back. So it's kind of holidays, really. If I had to give you an answer for that question, it's probably holidays.
I think that's in everyone's mind. Holidays is a massive shout. I think. I'm trying to think now. We bought a van last year as a shell, so I think a little bit down the holiday route. I think I'm looking to get that kitted out and get that on the road so we can go and do a little bit of camping because I think flights are going to be few and far between, aren't they, for the next year? So
it's a right dodgy van as well, isn't it?
Oh, whatever, mate. Every week I rock
two kids in the back of there.
Good question, that though. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd go for holidays, I think.
Yeah.
I've had my holiday cancelled, so I'm similar to Tom on that boat. Get a refund. I was going to go Cape Verde. Nice.
Money knocking about in this podcast, isn't there? Bloody hell.
Nice. Yeah. It was actually this time last year I was in Cuba, so doing all right. So I don't really know. Trying to save as much money just to see what.
Yeah, that's the positive I'm kind of taking from all this, just saving up a bit.
Yeah. It depends how much you spend, do you? Like, I'm just waiting for my money to go, and it's just not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That is one of the positives.
Like just in the morning, just a coffee, £3, £4 a day.
Yeah, Starbucks and whatnot.
Starbucks Costa. Then in the afternoon, might go out for some cheeky lunch, get some chicken and rice. Feed another £3, £4 a day. So yeah,
pennies make pounds, right? So let's move on. So our history, Tom, we shared the same team for quite a number of years at Stoke, and obviously Warren was sort of in the picture year above us. So
year above on the
we all sort of know of each other through the footballing world. Talk to us about your time at Stoke and sort of your memories around that, and obviously your transition away from that at, I think, was it 16?
Yeah, 16 I got let go, yeah. When did we play together? When did we start playing together? What year was it?
So I joined, because you were there from...
I was early doors. I was like as early as you could be, yeah. So when it starts in under 9s.
Yeah, I think I joined...
a couple of years,
or something, so...
Yeah, it was still dead early, yeah. Well, yeah,
Tom...
Sorry, go on,
I think it was you, Tom. I can't remember. I know you played up with the 12. It would have been 12s. And I think it was you. Did you break your foot, didn't you? Or was that you? Or you got a bad injury in the game. I remember you getting a bad injury and you having a cast on, but I can't remember what it was. If it was you.
I don't know if it was me, because my memory's quite good in football and I can't really remember that. And up until all my way through academy, I was quite injury-free. I was quite lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
But maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's a while back, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, under 9s I started all the way through until under 16s was when I got released. Yeah, and it was a bit of a roller coaster at Stoke around that time, wasn't it? When we were there. New academy managers coming in and out and all that.
That's a lot of change.
But I did really enjoy it. I made some really good friends at the time. I mean, when it was it was about under 14s, 15s, 16s, one where there was you, Jake, and Kurt, who obviously we had a strong connection through that time. It's always hard to stay in touch when you do get released from clubs. But no, I did love it there, and I was gutted it come to an end at under 16s. But that was probably, looking back, probably one of the best things that has happened to me so far in a weird sort of way.
Yeah.
What was the reason they said to you? To released?
They put it down as to like height and strength and athleticism sort of thing. Really, because I was only young. I was only pretty small at that age, and they had boys coming through the door on trial that were like double my size. They were like men boys really, and they were just getting scholars given to them, and I kind of saw it coming really. Although it was horrible, but I did see it coming.
Yeah, I don't know. So what was your sort of? Obviously, you said it was a tough time getting released, getting let go at 16. What was that journey like? Because I know you obviously did you go back to college for a bit, and you played a little bit of college football and then a bit of non-league. What was that?
So it was really tough because all I'd ever known was Stoke. So when I got released, it was horrible. It was horrible for my family and just seeing me down. But I kind of got my head around it pretty quick because I actually come into training the next day, even though I had been released, to keep my fitness up, and everyone was kind of looking at me funny, and I felt a bit of an idiot. But I felt if I just didn't come in and I was training on my own, I'd lose fitness. So I tried to keep as fit as I possibly could. And then I went on trial at a lot of clubs. I trialed at Derby, was the main one. I was there for quite a while, and it was looking good. I was there for about 10 weeks in total, and but in the end, I got a no from there. Then I went to other clubs like Leicester, Tranmere, Burton, but they were just little trials, like a couple of sessions, and getting no's from there. And I ended up signing for Newcastle Town, which was my local team at the time when I was at my mum and dad's.
Yeah.
And then I went to college. Yeah, I did some sort of BTEC thing. Luckily, I wasn't there very long. I think it was about a month I was actually in college for. Before then, I finally got picked up by Peterborough, which is where I did my scholar.
Yeah.
But it was tough. It was hard to say to my friends really about getting released, because at the time you just think it's a bit embarrassing and you think you'll get the mickey taken out of you. But looking back, it's actually not a big thing at all at that age.
Yeah, you got loads of time to, as you said, to bounce back. And what was that? So it was quite obviously Newcastle Town. Sort of, what are we there? Step 3 of the non-league system.
I really wouldn't know.
Sure,
I'd say it's pretty far off League Two. I think I'd say, if I had to guess, I'd say it's about five steps down now.
Yeah, so
that was tough. Although it was a big drop. Although I did really enjoy it in the end. Once I got my head around it, and I was playing really well there, and I made some really good friends, and we were doing well. We were winning things. So I always think, no matter what level it is, you're playing well, you're enjoying it, and you're winning things. You're gonna enjoy football.
Yeah.
So I did really enjoy it, but I was never wanted to stay there in the nicest way possible. I had higher ambitions than that, and then eventually, like I say, got picked up by Peterborough.
Yeah. So Peterborough is sort of, probably a good few hundred miles away from Newcastle.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
It was actually in the FA Youth Cup. I was playing up a year. I was playing up a year for Newcastle Town, and it was the early rounds of the FA Youth Cup.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who we were playing now, but it was pretty far away. And I scored 2, and we won 3-2. And there was the Peterborough youth team manager, Gavin Strachan, was at that game.
Oh, right.
And I remember when I went there, I was speaking to him, and he was iffing and ahhing whether to go to the game or not. So it's just little things like that. It's just luck on your side. I mean, if he hadn't have gone to the game, who knows, sort of thing. But yeah, it is far away.
Yeah. I don't know much of Peterborough. What was the setup like there? Did you go in did you say you went in as a scholar there, first year or second year scholar?
Yeah. First year, I was a couple of months into the scholarship, because obviously we're being released and I didn't have a club for a little bit. For example, at Stoke had kick-started your scholar, so I signed a little bit late as a first year, and it was really hard. I really wasn't used to it, because at Stoke I was obviously there for so long. If someone come in, I could still be loud, and it was like, do you remember, like that sort of thing?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas when you come in new, I think you've got to keep your head down a little bit, gain everyone's respect, and don't go bowling in. And I found that really weird and tough, which took a while to get used to. And at first, I mean, it didn't actually go. I trained well, in my opinion, and then I played a game, which was a make or break game. And I didn't actually think I had much of a good game.
Right.
And they still turned around to me and said, "We want to offer you." And in my head, I was like, "It's strange," and I was just trying to get my head around it. And when you want the respect of the lads, they must be thinking, when I come in Monday morning, what's he doing back here, sort of thing. So I had all these sort of things rushing through my head as a young 16-year-old lad, and I found it hard, but eventually I settled in and loved it there. I absolutely loved it at Peterborough.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think back now. Did you make your full debut at Peterborough, or was it when you moved on?
No, yeah, it was Peterborough. Yeah, I was a first year scholar, then a second year scholar, and then I eventually made my debut as a second year scholar. Yeah.
Right. What was that like? So obviously, sort of in the space of 18 months, 2 years, you've gone from sort of going back to college, a non-league setup, probably training a couple of times a week, game at a weekend, to full professional debut. Like you said, you've got a lot of self-doubt. Like, what was your headspace like through that whole?
It was quite strange because once I eventually knuckled down at Peterborough, and I was there for about 4 months, let's say, and I was getting on with the lads, and I was playing really well, and I was getting really improving as a player. And then as I turned the second year, I was up with the first team quite a bit, and I was training a lot, and then I was eventually on the bench a couple of times, and then I eventually come on. And obviously that's everything you work towards, and when it did happen, it was brilliant. I had my mum and dad there and all that sort of thing, and yeah, looking back, I absolutely loved it. It was actually, my debut was against Exeter in the FA Cup. And I made my league debut, and then in the Johnson Paint as well. I think I made three appearances for Peterborough in total.
Yeah, decent, mate. Decent. So moving on, let's have a think. So I've got some questions down here. I want you to have a think about your best and your worst moments in your football career so far. So what's
right? Okay.
a high so far, and then obviously the flip side. What's been something? I know we've talked about your journey away from your childhood club, but what's been like a standout low?
Okay. So highs. Well, it's probably this season. Really, I'm really enjoying my time at Vale at the moment, and we were doing really well. We're a point outside the playoffs, and
That's frustrating.
It's really frustrating, mate. I think we were 8 unbeaten in the run we were going on until it's been stopped. So things were going really well, and I was playing well. I was in the team, and yeah, we've just been hit by this, which is really frustrating. But if I had to pinpoint a moment, it would probably be my debut for Peterborough, my first game, and then also my first goal when I was at Stevenage. I think that come when I was 21, and that was away at Hartlepool. So yeah, they're probably the highs.
Yeah.
And then the lows are probably being released from Stoke was never nice. The first time I got released.
Like the players around you.
Say again, mate.
What was it like making your debut with the players? Like obviously seeing your players around you. Was it a hard environment to go into?
It wasn't, to be fair. The lads at Peterborough when I was young were really, really good. There was some real good players when I went there, because when I went there, they were in the Championship, so there was some big names at George Boyd, for example, Lee Tomlin, George Thorne, he was on loan. So loads of big players, and they were so nice to me. Really, really sound lads, which is, you don't always get that in football. I think a lot of the time, footballers get spoken bad about, but really they are really good people. But I was really surprised that I went in and how welcoming they were to me. So yeah, they were pretty nice in that aspect.
Yeah, it's not always an easy. I remember the few times I've sort of bumped up to the first team, and it's just like.
Oh yeah, it's still, yeah. Don't get me wrong, it still wasn't easy. Jesus.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, I think I got on the wrong side of Jermaine Penn at one time. I nutsed him in training, and then I remember thinking, oh my god! And then the next second is just like clattered me. Like it's just you have to, like you said, you have to go into those environments and sort of, you've got to keep a level head and stay humble, and you can't always be, because obviously you're a huge character for our squad. You can't always be that person and be obviously your true self in those environments. You have got to sort of earn your.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it still wasn't easy in that aspect. I mean, I loved it though. I loved it like when people were right on you to be as good as you could be. Like I hate it when people go through the motions, for example, in training, and they just look like they're not really that bothered. But it is really hard, especially when you're young and you're not used to it. But in the end, I did absolutely love it. Yeah,
that's class, mate. Class. It's been right, like as you say, a massive roller coaster journey so far. What have you got planned? What are your future ambitions? I know at the moment it's hard to have a think about that because it's all up in the air. But obviously you're talking about playoffs and whatnot. What's your sort of short and medium term and long term goals moving forward?
Yeah, sure. If the season gets back up and running, is to definitely make the playoffs. I mean, I can't tell you how frustrating it is. I can imagine if you're not doing so well and you're mid-table and your season's done, you're probably not bothering you that much. You'd still definitely be missing it. But at the moment, we've got something to play for, and it is horrible that that's been taken away from us. But hopefully, when we get back up and running, I mean, we're meant to be back in on the 16th of May. But I think that all depends on what the guidelines say on Sunday.
Right.
So yeah, if we can get back in then and hit the ground running and get into the playoffs, that'd be great, and see where that takes us. I'm currently up in the summer, contract wise.
Right.
So medium term goals would be looking to sign again. Me and the gaffer have spoken and we have touched on it, but it's all so up in the air at the moment. You don't know what's going to happen, so I can't really comment too much.
Is that hard? And because I remember from my experience being when I was a scholar at Shrewsbury, a lot of the lads that were playing there were always on like 1-year contracts or 2-year contracts. Is that unsettling or?
Definitely, that's probably one of the hardest things in football at your lower leagues. I mean, I know I've got a really good friend. I won't say his name. Who literally just packed up football. He said, like, I'm sick and tired of looking over my shoulder. Got no stability at all. I don't know when I don't know if I'm gonna be signed or not every single year, which I totally get. But I don't really think about it too much, unless the only time to think about it, I think, is if you're not playing and you're not playing very well and you're nowhere near the team. It is a horrible thing. Like, I mean, say you get injured, for example, and you can't get back in a team, it always creeps in your mind. What if I don't get anything in the summer? And it is horrible. Don't get me wrong, but I've always adapted to it quite well. I think as long as I've been doing my own thing and working on my own game, knuckling down as hard as I can, working as hard as I can, I always think that sort of pays off. But in answer to your question, it is horrible. It always being in the back of your head, and it isn't easy at all. And a lot of people don't really get that. I think the people that aren't in football, obviously you will, but your average person who doesn't play football, never has, they probably think you've got the best life in the world. When don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my job, but it is really, really hard in that sort of sense.
And it comes around fast as well. Like, sort of, as soon as you're through pre-season, you're almost 3 months into your
then you hit Christmas,
and then it's Christmas, and you're like, shit.
And that's when people start saying, "Are you in contract?" And it just comes, like you say, it does come round so quick.
Yeah, that's mad. Right. So, some sort of trivial questions now. What do you know now that you wish you would have known when you got released from Stoke? So when you started your sort of pursuit of a full-time football career, what advice would you give to yourself?
Do not panic at all. Like it's almost a nothing decision. At the time, I thought my football career is completely finished at 16 when I got released. I just thought that's it, but it's just so far from the truth.
Yeah.
Almost every player that I've met in football got released from a club when they were 16 and went on. Like, you very rarely see, take Stoke for example, someone stay at Stoke and come all the way through.
Oh yeah.
Other than Tom Edwards, is the one off the top of my head that I can think of.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that from a big club.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it?
So yeah, you're almost guaranteed rejection at some point as a footballer, aren't you? I think that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah. The thing I find hardest about, and probably in hindsight, was about coming out of football full time was just how quickly you can lose fitness, and I just thought, I'll take a month, I'll take a couple of months, just get my head straight, and then before you know it, it's just like you're so far off it, and you've got to try, it's almost an uphill struggle, isn't it? Trying to get
exactly. Yeah,
I think
that's kind of why when I got released, that I was in training the next day, because I didn't want that to happen. Because once that starts happening, you're right up against it, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it. So I think my big thing would have been just to keep playing, or just keep doing something in some capacity, because I think it's something like for every day you miss, it takes 2 to get back to where you were. So it's just one step
exactly.
steps back sort of thing.
I did the same as you, Tom. When I didn't get offered a pro on, let's say it was the Monday. I stayed for the next month and trained.
Yeah.
And it did help me.
Yeah.
For when I went to America, but it's so true. Like what, like me and you do at the moment. We just started doing like yoga, stretching, and Pilates as a girl. My hamstrings are ridiculous. Like I used to be quite not flexible, but I was all right. Now I can't even touch my knee. Yeah. It's just it's so ridiculous how quickly, and you feel kind of fit. I mean, injuries don't help me, but it's so bizarre. Like, what was your question again, D? What do you know now?
Yeah. So what do you know now that you sort of you tell yourself when you started?
Mate, mine would just be everything that I know. Like there's so much. I just don't. I'd never listen to people. I think that was my problem. I always thought I knew better than everyone, and I think it's just like simple things like stretching and doing your core, and injuries. Like understanding that everyone has injuries. Like it's not just you. And it's hard in football because you are selfish and you have to be selfish.
Yeah.
Because it is, at the end of the day, it is a team sport, but it's all about you.
Yeah.
Because if you don't fit,
especially at an academy level, that's what.
And now for you, in a way, because you're playing for a contract. If you don't play good enough, you haven't got a contract at the end of the year, or clubs aren't seeing what you can do. And it is. So I guess be more selfish for me as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So off the back of that, what are three of the best habits you could keep, or you did to keep yourself in the game?
Well, I was quite lucky because I've always loved football and I've always loved playing. I've never ever fell out of love with it. So I've always wanted to play and I've always been hardworking. So whatever level I dropped to, I was always loving it and wanting to do well. What was the question? And say the question again. Let me.
So what are the 3 sort of biggest habits that sort of kept you in the game, kept that dream alive?
I've always been determined. I've always been hardworking, and I've always had an end goal. Really, which is it's hard at the same time, because when I got released, that end goal seemed like a million miles away. But when you look back through your journey, everything has actually kind of happened for a reason, like injuries, getting released from Stoke.
Yeah.
I went to Billericay on loan when I was at Stevenage, which was God knows what level.
Yeah.
They were paying really big money at the time, which is why they were attracting players, but whatever. I dropped to there, went there, played one game. It was horrendous and all sorts was going on. I said, I'm never going back. And at that time, I thought, I have finished it. Like, no club's going to want to touch me in the summer. I've had the worst loan ever. But then I signed for Vale in the summer, and you just think it all happened for a reason. Because I dropped to that level, I just thought, now I never ever want to put myself in that position again. So it just makes you work even harder. It does me.
Billericay is the club that was it Paul Konchesky, Jamie O'Hara?
Yeah, all that one. Pennant went there for a bit.
Circus one there. Like, was it that Glenn?
Yeah,
Glenn Tamplin. Yeah,
he's owner of Romford now, I think.
I've seen that.
He is a complete nutcase. Complete nutcase.
I've seen his flipping murals on the changing rooms and stuff, and like all of his. What does he sing? He sings an R. Kelly song, doesn't he?
Things that R. Kelly song. Yeah, luckily I never had to do that. But when I first met him, he is a nice bloke, like a nice enough bloke, but he was just a bit tapped.
Yeah.
Just some of the stuff he was up to was a bit mental.
Yeah, what's it called? Didn't he get a manager in and then sack him on the same day and put himself in as the manager or something?
He's
like
done that a number of times, mate. I think he's done that a fair few times.
That's not size.
It is mad that. Just give it here, will you? Give it here. I'll
do. Just get sacking it and then bringing himself back. But if you look at his Twitter, he is doing a lot of good stuff at the moment. I think it's for like mental health and stuff. So, like I say, he is a really good bloke, but it's just a strange time at the club when I was down there. I think he's doing all right now.
Oh wait, yeah, that's a bit mad. The best you've played against and why? Best players. So you had a bit of a cut run, didn't you, this season?
Did this season, yeah. It would be Foden. He was unbelievable on the day.
Yeah.
And there was players like David Silva, Aguero, and them boys playing. But on the day, he was ridiculous. He was so quick. He looks quite slight on the tally, but he was so quick and sharp, and he just had everything. And he was such a top lad as well. They all were them Man City boys when we played them. Like after the game, they were having us in the changing room for photos and things like that. But yeah, I can't speak highly enough of Phil Foden. He was such a nice lad, and he was unbelievable on the day.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
he looks a player though. He looks quality, and I think
just rolls
for a young lad though.
He's got his head screwed on, hasn't he, for a young lad?
Yeah, you want to be playing more though. From the outside looking in, and it's whether he's going to get a chance. Hopefully.
I think when David Silva finishes,
gone,
he'll be straight in. Yeah, straight in.
City.
He's got a kid, hasn't he? He's really young for that.
Yeah.
I think he's about 1 as well.
Mm.
So I think that's why he's like he seems quite mature when you see his just little things. I know you can't read into it, but like his Instagram and he just little things like that. And obviously, we're playing against him. He seems like the top pro.
Yeah.
What do you think separated him? Go on, D.
Go on, Waz.
What do you think separated him from the rest of the team? Was it just he just knew where everything was, his movement?
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, David Silva and but still on the same sort of page as him. But like I say, I just couldn't believe how quick and how strong he was for like such a slight lad as he looks on the tally. But I mean, they were all class. But if I had to pick one against us, I would say him.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of it. You nearly bagged, didn't you?
Oh, I should have done, mate. I actually should have done. It was ball that passed in the box, and it took an age to drop. So I just shook my head at it. Looking back, should have gone the other corner. But yeah, that bugged me for about 3 weeks. I couldn't sleep.
I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
Where did all those Port Vale fans come from, by the way?
8,000, wasn't there? They were class that day. I think between us as players, we had about 2,000 there. Yeah. I know Tom Pope, always mates there. There was all sorts of my family there.
Yeah.
No, it was such a good day. It was amazing.
Yeah, look class.
Were you at Vale? Was it last year they played Stoke, Tom?
Yeah, played in that. Yeah.
Did you play in that? What was that like?
That was class because obviously growing up as a Stoke fan, I knew like all the songs, and these Stoke fans, like even during the warm up, were mental, like so loud. So it just got you so up for it. Even though it was their 23, obviously we battered them, and I think they had that Campbell played.
Nathan Collins, Campbell,
Verlinden played. Yeah, Nathan Collins.
Lasse Sorensen.
Blonde lad, is he?
Yeah, the blonde lad in
midfield. They had a pretty strong team. I think a few of them have been pushed up now, but yeah, that was class. It was just a shame it ended the way it did, with Stoke fans doing what they did and trashing the stadium.
Yeah. It spills over a bit sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when you get back to Vale now, there should be a new. The stand's being built, hasn't it? I think. I swear I saw it on.
Yeah, they put seats in. They put seats in that big, because they had a big block of no seats in it. It didn't look great, but now they've got in it. Actually looks really good, and that'll be class. I don't think they can actually sit in it yet because they haven't done like the concourse under it. It's our gym really, so they wouldn't be able to go in there. Yeah. But no, that just little things like that. The owners that have come in have been class. They've done loads really, and it's really just going really well.
Yeah, it seems positive since the new owners have come in.
Mate, yeah.
Kind of everyone seems buzzing around the place.
Oh yeah, because off the pitch it's been really good because they've got the whole club stable, and our new manager and his staff have come in and done class, and then we've done well this season, and it is a real good feel, which again is why it's even more frustrating that it's been cut short at the moment, and we're just waiting and praying that we can get back to it.
Yeah, it is a nightmare. It is a bump in the road. One footballing memory you can't look back on without laughing.
It's got to be a Stoke one, hasn't it? We had some stupid times. What about when we went Norway? Did you come Norway?
No, mate. I remember Zach Corbett going up header with a lamp.
It'd have to be then. That was some straight that.
No,
because we were all like proper young, weren't we? And we were all just buzzing to. It's just like a school trip, but with all us lot, and then football was brilliant.
It was loose, wasn't it? Proper loose. Remember playing? What did we played? Like we played Tig with Conkers or something stupid like that. Just
probably something like that. Well, we had that game, didn't we? When them lads were so old, and we were God knows what age.
Yeah,
they were turning up in cars, and we just couldn't believe it. But yeah, that was a class trip. Actually, I actually forgot about that without thinking about it. We had Swifty and Rammer as our gaffers. Wow, they were class.
Did you see that article on Rammer recently? He got sacked, didn't he? From
yeah, that was a shame, wasn't it? Yeah. I know. Yeah, that was a shame. I don't know what happened there.
No,
exactly. I speak to Swifty quite a bit, and he said,
"Oh, do you?" It's Craig Ramage. He used to play for Derby, but
yeah, I seen what he said. Yeah.
Controversial comments, wasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
But he was always dead sound with us.
Oh, he was brilliant, yeah. But obviously, whatever comment he has made isn't great, really.
So
that was similar. So, like, I know on the other podcasts we've had, like, I've obviously, when I was at Shrewsbury Scholar, we were living together, there was a lot of times, like, it was confrontational and all that, but it was literally, a lot of the time was like a 2-year, like, school kids messing around. Like, Tom, you'll know Sam as well, Sam Westry.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So me and Sam used to just get out to stupid stuff, especially in the gym. I never went to the gym, but when we were in the gym, we used to wait in there. We used to just throw medicine balls at each other's heads and see how far we could head it. And we've come back with like concussions, everything. I think I missed a game, or I started a game and I was so concussed, I was just sick everywhere.
What are you doing?
Me and Sam, and I was like, I don't know why I haven't done anything. Realised me and Sam had been 2 14 medicine balls thrown at each other's heads, seeing who could wooden doors, seeing if he could headbutt our way through him, and we were just like, what are you thinking back now, what are you doing? That's why this part of my head's so strong.
In the youth team, you do get up to some mental things because you're just new to that whole full-time football environment, and you just don't know what's right and wrong, and you do have some funny times in youth team.
I remember one time we finished training. It was at night, and we lived on it was like a campus, but there was farmers that lived opposite us who were like studying like BTEC farming or whatever it was, and they were absolute idiots, and they hated us. We just remember, and some of the lads we had were rough, like from London, Birmingham, like some rough lads, to put it that way. Some of the stories, probably no way I could go into detail for it. But we literally went, I remember waking up in probably like middle of the night, and there's one of the lads knocking on the door with a crowbar, getting everyone out of the bedroom. They want to fight. So there's about 18 of us, and a lot of the lads with weapons of choice. And it was an eventful night that night.
Not as anything that does.
No one got hurt in the process, but it was funny.
We were under like constant surveillance. None of that could have happened when.
But the thing is, we were as well. But our curfew was like 10 or 11 o'clock. I can't remember what it was.
10 or 11? That's class. Ours was 8.
But I think we had to be like locked in our room at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we had to be in our digs at 8.
And the warden of like the whole apartment block literally come round at 10 o'clock, made sure we're all in a room, and then kind of went to wherever they were. And it was nuts.
Loose.
Absolute carnage. We used to just prank each other, like put in full bins full of water, put it up against the door and just knock, and there'd be a bin full of water. And one time there was about 5 of us, and one of the lads hadn't trained his best. He actually left 6 months into his scholar. I think he's in prison now. He was on a wanted poster in London anyway. Put it that way. And he wasn't trying to train, and he was pissing everyone off. So everyone there was a massive, like, and I say massive, and I mean a massive, it was probably the size of a dining table plant pot, and it took about 7 or 8 of us to lift it. And we just put it in his room and just left it there. And if he didn't move it himself, it was up to him. It had shit. It had everything in it. It was disgusting.
Well, Tom, I bet you've come across some proper dodgy pranks in the changing room. What's the worst one?
Yeah, you've got. Do you want at Stoke were bad with that pighead? Remember that? Were you about there?
Yeah, I was there then. Cameron Jones, was it?
Something like that. Yeah. I wasn't there. I mean, I've just read that number of times.
I remember him I remember him like storming into the physio room or the canteen or something. I remember seeing him stomping around livid. It
was Glenn Whelan and John Walters, weren't it, messing about with each other, and everyone else got involved, weren't they?
Walters did something, yeah.
Yeah.
We had another.
I haven't really had that many. I don't think, other than not like shockers like that. Not that I can think of. I remember one lad at Peterborough had his last day, and they literally just drove his car into the tightest space through like the ground. You know where they serve? It was actually in the concourse. It was so tight that they like put it there and just left it. That was quite funny, and just egged it and all your standard stuff. But yeah, nothing like shocking.
No.
Not like pig's heads or anything like that. No.
We had a few shit boxes in cars and stuff. I remember some of the lads.
Yeah.
No, I've not actually had any of that. I don't really like that. It's not really my sort of banter though. That.
No, it's
a little bit funny.
Can get a bit out of hand, that sort of stuff. But last one then. What's your your top tips, best advice for an aspiring footballer, someone treading the same path as you, maybe through a non-league system or even in an academy system at the moment?
Just your usual hard work one for me. I always say that whenever I get that question. I've found in my career, like every time I've worked as hard as I can, results have come, whether it's been a little bit of luck that I've got or something's gone my way. It always seems to pay off. And I just think if things aren't going very well, work hard. And if they don't get any better, work even harder and just that's how I kind of go about my football. And it does seem to pay off for me. Obviously, you do have downtime in football, a lot of it. I always think the best way to get out of this work as hard as you possibly can. Yeah. And for example, when I got released at 16, don't take that to heart. Make it man you up and work even harder than you ever have, and show people they were wrong in releasing you.
Yeah, I think that was a really good point. Just the working hard and staying sort of goal orientated. I think that's what a lot of successful people, not just players, but people have is just that sort of there's no plan B. It's just a different route to plan A, and it's just like you say, just keeping on plodding and keeping on at it. And really good point.
It's quite cheesy to say, isn't it? Like just work. It's very, people always say it. Yeah. But if you actually think it and strip everything back, the only way to get what you want is work as hard as you possibly can for it. And I think if you do that, you can't go far wrong.
Massively.
What would you, Tom? What would you say? Like, because obviously League 2 and League 1 is different to people perceived Premier League and even Championship.
Mm.
So obviously you're more of a technically gifted player,
Mm.
and a lot of League One and League Two is, well, what is perceived to be as long ball, strong players, players that work the nuts off in the middle of the park. How do you adapt to that? Because obviously you're a technically good player. And I remember when I was at Shrewsbury, we had players in the middle that weren't really technical, but they could get from box to box. And just literally head.
Well, that's kind of what I've done when I say about hard work. That's something when I was 16, was probably holding me back a bit. Whereas I've hammered that now, and probably one of my strongest parts of the game is pressing and being horrible and ratting about and being aggressive as possible in the middle. And that's kind of how we play. We play with a 3 and then 2 in front of the deep midfielder, and I've been playing in that too. And our job is to press, rat, be horrible, win the ball back, and then make things happen as well. So I've kind of put that into my game, which definitely helps. I mean, if you try and play in League Two, definitely League Two, and you're not aggressive and you're not ready to compete for everything, then you haven't got a chance. Which is what I always try and do every time I start a game. Is the first thing, get stuck in. It's very real. Get stuck in straight away. Win every header, win every tackle, and then if you start like that, usually the football side then comes out half an hour into the game. It opens up, and then you're more technical and passing and playing through balls and a lot of things like that come through. So I think I'd definitely say in League Two the most important thing is to compete 100%. There's no point being a technically good player if you're not going to compete in League Two. There's no point. It doesn't work like that.
You fit into our formation then, D, with a 3 in the middle, 2 either side of the 1.
We set up like that. I think it's
4-3-3, good formation. That
perfect formation.
All right then, Tom. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
not
Tom.
a problem, mate. Good to see you both.
And you, Tom.
Yeah.
Good to catch up. We'll have to have.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah.
We'll have to get the lads back together. Get together and.
100%, mate. Yeah, when this is all done. Definitely, mate. Yeah, definitely.
All right then, pal. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, top man, boys. Speak to you in a bit. See you later.
See you later.
It was alright, that was, wasn't it?